my friends, I hope you're doing well. My name is Wanyiha Jindut, and today, as the title suggests, we are going to be working on our sides, which are majorly vegetables. Sides are what you get with your protein serving, and this could be anything from purees, steamed vegetables, steamed rice, flour products. And today we are mainly going to be working on some starches and vegetables. And I have butternut, I have cauliflower, carrots, mushrooms, spinach, and other things that we might add as we continue. And we're going to start with our cauliflower, and we're going to be steaming this. I have about a bag of cauliflower that I cut out the stems, at least most of the stems. So we're going to work with the florets, and this is important because florets give us a good product. Whether we're trying to get rice out of the cauliflower or mashed cauliflower, the florets do better, and they're not as coarse, even though the stem too is truly edible. So we're going to steam this, and then we're going to transfer the steamed cauliflower into the pot so that we can blend it. We're going to be using an immersion blender. So aside from the florets, we have in our Mise Place the cream. We have half a cup of cream and 2 tablespoons of butter, because we want to enrich the cauliflower we are making today with some dairy. And whenever you don't want to use dairy, you can use something like a veggie broth or chicken or beef broth, just keeping in mind who your guests are and what their preferences are. And we have some salt and pepper, which we are going to add as soon as we start steaming. And this is the immersion blender we are going to use. So I'm going to bring you closer. I let my steaming water begin to boil, but my equipment here contains of this insert that has holes in it, and that is what is going to bring the steam through. So I'm going to put as much cauliflower as can be contained in this smaller bowl. So we're going to salt the cauliflower and some black pepper. I want the seasoning to adhere so that you don't have to add later. So we're going to let that steam for about 10 to 15 minutes. I'll check for softness or doneness, and then get rid of that hot water and blend our cauliflower from the bottom pot. So it's been about 10 minutes and our cauliflower is looking very soft. Hot in that hot stove top, so we can use the residue. And we're going to add the half a cup of cream and the 2 tablespoons of butter for that rich flavor. These are steamed correctly, they blend really easily. So we have seen how truly easy that is, and the cauliflower mash is really nice and soft. As you can see, it's just like a potato mash, and you can serve it with any protein and another side that you desire. So this is really easy and nice. I promise you the flavor will blow your mind, So we'll follow with some serving suggestions. I have a butternut squash that I already peeled, and we're going to cut this into small bits, and then we will boil it and then roast it in the oven with just some butter, some salt and pepper, and maybe paprika for color. This is a good side, especially when you're serving with a beef or chicken dish. When you add this into salad, it makes for a more filling meal. and it's very, very delicious. It's, you know, just close to sweet potatoes for those who love sweet potatoes but are not used to butternut. This is good. And you know, of course, we can puree and make soups with a butternut squash. It's one of the sides that is really delicious and just so versatile. So I'm going to cube it. So these are the sizes of butternut, and we can even go smaller. These are the sizes of butternut we are going for. And so once we boil them, we'll transfer to a tray and begin to roast. I'm going to start with two little cubes of chicken stock and a bit of hot water to just speed that melting process for those. And I'll add a tablespoon of salt, the flavor. So we're going to boil this 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll check them for doneness. And once they're nice and soft, we are going to season them and transfer to a baking tray. So now we have our soft butternut pieces, and we are going to transfer this into our pan, and just going to add them just like that and shake them to fit. Okay, and we're going to add that butter. It's always good to taste your food to check seasoning and doneness. I'm gonna taste the smallest piece. But we can add a bit of pepper and the seasoning. This makes your butternut just so interesting to look at. Just a bit of herbs, and I'll add this into the oven. Carrots are some of the most delicious sides that you can serve your guests, and it pays to have them at the right texture. And usually when these are cooked in restaurants, they are bound to add some sort of a sweetener to make them even more sweet. But I do feel like carrots are sweet enough. And if you're going to feed these carrots to a low carb, it's best to omit all sugars, because carrots already have a natural sugar. And while it's best to steam so we can keep all the nutrients intact, we are going to use very little water. I'm going to add these carrots into some hot water. Slim carrots, but whenever you find them thicker, more thicker than you like, you can split them in the middle. And you can also serve carrots that are cut. Today I just want to cook slim whole carrots, and what you're going to do is add some salt to the water. Salt brings out the sweetness to anything, really. So we are going to cover this and cook them for about 10 minutes until they're softer. After 10 minutes, our carrots are done now. We don't want them to be overdone. So we're going to oil our tray, and you can cook these carrots hot or let them cool. Our carrots are in the tray now, and I'm just going to sprinkle a spice mix comprising of salt, pepper, and some herbs. This is more for color and that mysterious flavor. And I'm just going to add a bit of my Italian herb mixture, and this will just make them more interesting to look at. You can add at this point or at the end. Then we're going to add some melted butter all over the carrots. And if you can't reach everywhere, you can just roll them in both the oil and butter 400 degrees Fahrenheit oven and cook until they're nice and crisp, about 10 minutes. Another dish we are going to cook is this cremini or button mushrooms. I cube this until we have smaller pieces, and what we're going to do with this is make a side that can also be served as a sauce on top of our meat, but also goes very well with other meals as a side. Best way to cook our mushrooms is to start on a dry pan, and you want that water content to start reducing immediately, because I want them to be slightly caramelized without oil, because once we start adding the oil, it will be absorbed in the mushrooms immediately, but we want it to lose the water content first, because sometimes it tends to be a lot and it can affect whatever other liquids that we are adding. As you can see, the moisture is just releasing and immediately drying up because the pan is very hot. I'm cooking this on high heat. You can see it's beginning to turn brown. But also we don't want it to get crispy during this process. So as soon as we see that they're dry, we're going to go in with a bit of oil and also butter. Mushrooms do very well in the fats that you add. So just a little bit of oil, 2 tablespoons of our butter. Our next side is creamy spinach. I say creamy because this is not really creamed spinach. And it's so important to talk about the difference between creamy and creamed spinach. Creamed spinach is spinach that is cooked in a bechamel sauce, and a bechamel sauce is a sauce you make out of flour and butter and add milk, and this just adds to the creamy consistency of your spinach. These are delicious, but they're not always low carb. It's only now that in the low carb community we are getting flours that can be used in such ingredients, but you find sometimes that the flavor doesn't work very well for the item, and so sometimes it's good to make a similar meal but settle for less thickness, because with the creamy spinach you don't get as much thickening as with the creamed spinach, and that's the difference really. So we will not be using the bechamel sauce or the roux. We will be using cream and cream cheese. Okay, now our spices are just for flavoring. and it's so common that you'll find people using cumin in spinach. It's just a flavor I bumped into and I loved it. And you can use fresh garlic. I don't have fresh garlic, so I'm using powdered garlic. And so now I think our pan is ready. I'm going to add about a spoon of olive oil, just eyeballing that. And as soon as it gets hot, we are going to add, and we don't even have, it's not a must that you use oil in this because we have these fatty ingredients, but just for frying the onion, I want my onion to be part of the flavor profile, and I'm going to achieve this just by slightly browning the onion. So when you brown the onion, especially a red onion, it develops more flavor, and that can be tasted in your food. So it's very important for me to have the red onion or whatever onion I am using to be slightly browned, especially in meals like this. So I want the oil to be piping hot so that our onion can begin cooking immediately. So we're going to give it time so that it's nicely soft and a bit caramelized, just a bit along the edges. Then we'll be able to add our spinach. And you don't have to defrost your spinach. These are good as they are because they will get softer very quickly. But when you have the time, you can defrost them just to get rid of the extra liquid. So we're just cooking our spinach in the onion, and as it continues to warm up and get really hot, I'm going to add the cream cheese just so that it gets softer in there. And when we come back, we will be able to just stir and mix it in with the vegetables. So you want to check for doneness and seasoning. It is so good. Perfect for serving even at breakfast time and on steak or side. Perfect with rice dishes and all others. So this is just a good dish. And as you know, spinach is one of those vegetables that are really nutritious, very good even for children, so incorporate it into your meals. Friends, we've been cooking for a while and our carrot and butternut are done. So this is what we are going for, slightly wrinkly and just very, very beautiful. They smell good too, and if you like, you can add more herbs as you're serving just for the aesthetic. And here are our butternut, slightly crispy on top and just nice, gooey, well done. In the inside, the flavors blend so well together, and this is a good one for when you're serving salads and just as sides. Perfect. You can also turn this into a soup if you have any leftovers, so it's just a good side to have. So I hope you liked the method, and we boil them fast because we want to get rid of the starch. You don't want to taste that starch, and you also don't want it to have a longer cooking process in the oven, so it's only good to just boil them fast or steam them before you cook them in the oven. You'll get that crisp and also a way better flavor. It blends very well with the fats you use. So the butternut. And friends, I hope you have enjoyed our exercise today, cooking these sides and sauces. And this will, I promise you, your family will love this. So thank you so much for watching. It's been a joy to create this, and I hope to see you on the next one. God bless you and keep you. Bye-bye.